Good morning. Ukrainian Crisis Media Center starts its online conference. Ukrainian business reviving after quarantine, how we should work during the second stage and third stages after lockdown, in partnership with USAID, ULEAD, and the Global Communities programs. During all the lockdown, we had been continuously receiving questions about privileged interest credits, loans, about taxation in the quarantine conditions, and today we decided to devote a special press conference to this. And the second point of our today's discussion, the second topic will be medical recommendations during the suspension of lockdown. The objective of our today's discussion is to find out those bottlenecks which exist for businesses, to hear from all the shareholders. In order to reach this, we encouraged our local businessmen, local authorities to express their vision, their opinion. So we invite you to join discussion and to ask your questions. Today, you can find us on the online Facebook of DOBRE program, on the website of ULEAD online page, on the website of Ukrainian Crisis Media Center, and we today are streamed in 2 languages. Before giving the floor to the first speaker, I would like to mention 2 figures. The Cabinet of Ministers suggests that SMEs produce 55% of our GDP and provides jobs for 72% of population of workable age, and considerable support to SMEs development comes to Ukraine from our foreign partners, from the United States, from Europe, from the European Union, etc. So our first speaker is director of the Office for Democracy and Governance from USAID, to Mr. Thomas White. Mr. White, can you hear me? Please join.
Shall I proceed?
Yes.
Shall I proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure you can hear me. So good morning, everyone. I'm excited and honored to be part of the conference. Reviving local economies. How can businesses stay operational during the phase 2 and phase 3 stages of the exit quarantine plan, or the quarantine exit plan? I also have to say that it's really a pleasure to be able to participate with everyone on this platform. I think I'm getting used to the idea of putting on a suit and tie and talking to everyone from my house, which I guess everyone else has also learned over the last few months. It's been quite a lot of a process of learning the technology, and everyone is becoming more and more fluent. So the topic that we're addressing today is critically important to Ukraine's future. Ukraine, like most other countries, is experiencing significant economic challenges as a consequence of the COVID-19 crisis. It is unprecedented. The global economy has not experienced anything like this on this kind of scale in our lifetimes. And we need to partner and seek creative ways to address the crisis, while at the same time strengthening Ukraine's health system and building the economy. I'm happy to see USAID DOBRE and EU ULEAD activities partnering to organize this conference today, which is really great. Alongside USAID's Competitive Economy Program representatives who are among the speakers, and also our Ukrainian national and local partners participating and sharing their thoughts, visions, and best practices. The last time that we had a similar conference, I guess it was about a month ago, we were talking about the current state of the pandemic, its influence on the economy, and what are the ways the government can support businesses under these difficult circumstances. What is needed to make the economy work again? Today, we're going to talk about a specific plan of action and operations for government support to the economy and business during phase 2 and phase 3 in the relaxation of the quarantine. While small, these phase changes signify that the situation is moving in the right direction. There is some improvement, and there will be a gradual reopening of the economy. As many of you who are in Kiev will have seen, many people are now out in the streets and some of the businesses and shops are opening. It's small steps. The economic challenges are significant though, and we need to have an open and balanced conversation about these challenges. Let's share best examples and best practices for addressing the negative economic impact of the crisis, and get into some of the specific actions that can be taken to adjust as we move out of quarantine. Service providers, how to safely and productively resume the
Зараз ми пробуємо зв'язатися з паном Томасом. На жаль, онлайн-зв'язок має свої переваги, має свої недоліки.
Unfortunately, online connection has also its disadvantages when connection fails. Mr. Thomas, we can hear you now. Please continue.
there.
Mr. Thomas, we can hear you now.
Але все окей.
Okay, I'll continue. Did you hear what I was saying before?
Так. Будь ласка, продовжуйте.
Please continue. Please continue. We have heard. Please continue.
All right, so let me just get back to what I was saying. Everyone who's here in the conference now, you all are really important source people for each other and addressing the challenges that the COVID-19 is presenting for reopening business. Hearing examples of local government helping local entrepreneurs and how businesses are adapting to the quarantine. It will be helpful. USAID's DOBRE activity works alongside ULEAD and key partner communities to support local economic development in Ukraine. It has done so for almost 4 years now, strengthening governance in part by establishing dialogues like this platform here. Dialogues between local businesses, communities, and local government leadership. Today's discussion is timely and should be ongoing. The challenges that COVID-19 presents require a collective effort by all, and I salute you who are here today for taking part in this conversation. We've gathered the right people today, and the ideas you generate and plans that result will provide a better sense of the road ahead. On behalf of USAID, I wish you all well and look forward to hearing more from the discussion. And of course, stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you. You all well and look forward to hearing more from the discussion.
Пане Томе, дякую вам за
Thank you so much for your messages, and thank you for sharing experience with us and for emphasizing that you want to hear from people. Now my question to you, whether USAID priorities had changed due to the pandemic? And what are those priorities now?
Let me just make sure I'm on here.
чути.
We can hear.
So the pandemic COVID-19 is a call for action, and the U.S. government has committed $15.5 million in health and humanitarian assistance to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in the economy. Working with Ukrainian authorities, we have a number of different things that we're working on, strengthening laboratory systems, improving case management, providing much needed equipment and supplies to be able to respond to the epidemic, bolstering infection prevention and control at targeted health facilities, and providing critical water and sanitation outreach efforts, humanitarian assistance efforts, particularly in eastern Ukraine, to conflict-affected populations in Donetsk and Luhansk. I would say, though, that saving lives through health and humanitarian assistance is really part of USAID's broader mandate. And so in providing this kind of funding and technical assistance to Ukraine, we're just continuing our commitment to the broader partnership that we have with Ukraine in these efforts in working against COVID-19. You asked about priorities. Obviously, saving lives is going to be the top priority for USAID in the work that we do. It's part of our mandate as an agency. But our broader strategic priorities for Ukraine have not changed. We're still working to counter corruption in the country. We're still working against Russia's malign influence in the country. We're looking to build Ukraine's democracy and also strengthen the economy. All of this, of course, is made possible through the commitment that you have seen from the American people, the U.S. taxpayer, in providing funding to USAID, and of course the bipartisan support that we have from the U.S. Congress in supporting Ukraine and its path towards a more European future.
Дякую вам, пане Томасе.
Thank you, Mr. White, and it's my pleasure now to invite to the microphone Mr. Benedict Herman, First Secretary of the EU Delegation to Ukraine. Mr. Herman, can you hear us? Доброго ранку. Good morning. I would like to thank to the EU delegation and to all the participants of today's conference. All of us, I mean, in global context, not only in Ukraine, not only all our stakeholders, but everywhere we are all in this together in totally unknown situation, and nobody knows how to respond correctly, how to respond safely, how to make right steps. That's why we have to listen to each other attentively and share as many experience, as much experience as possible. And I'm very happy when I look at the list of participants of today's conference, and there are many local people, and this gives me hope that this conference will be productive and useful for people. I'm happy that today with our colleagues from USAID, we can participate virtually in this conference. For us, the issue of new partnerships between new amalgamated communities and local businesses is of primarily importance for us. This partnership between local businesses and local authorities is really very important, which was considerably underestimated in the past. Local communities get 60% of their income from local businesses. This actually means that the more partners local authority has among local businesses, and the more support they are able to offer to local businesses, the more revenues they will get to the local budget, and thus local authority is interested that local businesses can develop independently and sustainably. Of course, grants and credits can support, but without strong partnership between local authority and local businesses, no grants, no credits would help. I would not speak long today. I only would like to give a small piece of advice to all representatives of the local authorities, local amalgamated communities. Use this chance to meet your local businesses and to discuss the way forward. Make an inventory of your local strengths, of your local opportunities, and think in terms of how many taxes you potentially can collect from flourishing businesses. Try to develop this dialogue with local businesses. Of course, we can provide some assistance to you, but contacts, good communication, networking, this is extremely important. Of course, we can bring experts from USAID, from Canada, from Poland, but try to use all those experiences for improval of your contacts. This COVID-19 challenge and economic challenge due to the pandemic provides a good chances for Ukraine to open new markets for the products. This potentially might be the youth markets about which you had never been thinking in the past, and you can now easily compete with some EU products. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I wish you success. Mr. Herman, thank you so much. Thank you for all your recommendations and your advice about horizontal links and communication between local authorities and businesses. And now, may I ask you a question? Perhaps this is a question about Ukrainian realities, but you are well familiar with Ukrainian realities. So the self-governance members ask a question: what are the ways to legalize agricultural activities in rural areas? Quite often people are scared because of official reporting, tax reporting, economic reporting. They are very much scared. I do not think that you need any European experience here. I think that you should resolve this question in Ukraine. Quite often, those people who have their businesses in shadow and want to legalize it, they are afraid and scared with either official or unofficial structures who may impose additional collections on them. So you have to communicate very carefully with the local authorities, with the authorities of newly established amalgamated communities, and share successful cases, disseminate these positive experiences to spread the message that when the businesses go out from shadow, go into the light, they do not become unsuccessful or damaged, etc. For example, those businesses who work in shadow, they cannot find sufficient amount of capital for development, capital resources for development. They cannot grow. So this should be clearly articulated as a big advantage of legal businesses. Perhaps the gradual de-shadowization might be offered. For example, local council may gradually open access to business loans, business credits for those businesses which wanted to come out from shadow. We clearly understand that in rural areas there might be very specific businesses and very specific practices which might require very interesting and non-standard approach for de-shadowization. Thank you, Mr. Herman, for this very interesting recommendation. Now we are gradually shifting to de-shadowization program, and now we are going to discuss the credits. We have Mr. Andris Lubinski, head of the SMEs office, SMEs Development Office under the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Agriculture. This is about credits, accessible credits, 579% of interest rates. You reported about 25,000 of such credits available per year, but during the first quarter, only 660 SMEs out of 1,600 of applications, but many applications were rejected because of bad business plans. And this indicates that interest to this accessible credits program is huge, but not so many get these credits. Mr. Slabinski is not online, and we will wait for him, and instead we have now Mr. Mykola Savolyak, head of NGO Business People Club. Once, Mr. Savolyak, you mentioned that businesses are able to survive under any conditions. Whether you still remain the optimist after 3 months of lockdown, could you describe your organization and how those businesses managed to survive during?
Thank you. Yes, we are entrepreneurs. We should survive. We should constantly search for new financial resources and markets. And business, as of today, is alive. And we suffered a lot of losses. Some of us stopped the activity. But once the sun is above, everyone will work and the business will restart. And sometimes I say that being an entrepreneur is like catching some virus. Once you became an entrepreneur, then you will never go back to your employer. You will do your business yourself. And we are business association. We have more than 3,000 organizations, and together with our partner ULEAD, we work on helping business and communities. We have an opportunity now to speak about our views on how to deal with the problems of the communities and some examples how these challenges are faced and overcome. I have a short presentation. Please wait a minute. Do you see it? First of all, I would like to show a small diagram. We carried out a survey together with USAID concerning business. And the business that belong to some association, they have higher results concerning the activity. This shows that if in the territory of the community, whether big or small, there are some unions with which community cooperate, this positively develops, this positively influences on the development of business. And now about some challenges the most critical ones in the communities. First, these are regular crises. We may speak about regularity of crisis, social, economic, political crises, and we believe that we may overcome this experience by consulting, and the business should reinforce itself because we will face new crises in the future. And we have dialogues with business and the power. Yesterday we had an online meeting during which one business met the mayor of the city. Business asked questions and the power answered whether they can help. So we have a dialogue, but the dialogue not only about some comprehensive things, but also about some details. For example, complaints about business concerning young people. Some business, they are not able to work with these young people, even if they have 5 or 6 young people in the group, they cannot work now. And the mayor asked her about her problem, and they tried to help her in her entrepreneurial activity. So these short meetings online each month may help business to develop. And also we have a hotline 911. If an entrepreneur has some difficulty, they may call. And also entrepreneurs, they really value such hotlines. Also, lack of operating capital and investment money. This is grants, loans, program of reimbursement, and this program, about which Andrei will tell us more about, program 579% loans. Not many entrepreneurs know about this program. That's why we should inform businessmen on such programs. Also, together with the power or donor, the programs may be developed. Together with ULEAD, we develop, together with the Lviv state administration, some program for some on some loans for business, so they will be able to pay the body of the credit as taxes, income taxes, and part of the money will be returned to the community in the form of taxes. And we should promote this program among businesses, and this is motivation for business to get legalized, because business, they are interested in this. If they see that legalization will provide them with more resources, with some loans and grants, then business will start getting legalized, and this will increase taxes, the proceeds in the form of taxes. Also about competitiveness, growth of competitiveness. We should help business to find the niche, also added value chains creation, and we help businessmen to cooperate to build a network. When one entrepreneur provides some service, for example, and the next one provides some addition to the service. This works great in tourism business when, for example, some entrepreneurs get together and provide complex, comprehensive services to tourists. When they get united, they are able to provide comprehensive services. This is about dairy cooperatives and their cooperation with dairy plants, and then those who sell those products, they create a network. So they should be turned into businesses that cooperate, not just compete. Also, now we face low sales. It is difficult for business to sell everything to everybody. They should do something specific. They should deal more with those who live in their territory. And together with ULEAD, we pilot an instrument. We study the opportunities of agrarian producers, what products that they may produce and sell, and then we speak with hotels, restaurants, and trading networks, and we ask them what products they want to buy. We try to unite them in one network, and also people in communities will be able to sell these products, and they may buy these products there. This is not a difficult instrument. There should be proper managers in the communities, and they will be able to spend several hours a week in order to make such connections between producers of agricultural produce and potential clients. Our next challenge, low level of training for administrative personnel. And business complaints about this in the communities. Good instrument is some trainings, programs for such specialists, together with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and the Center of Support for Business. We organize different trainings, forums, programs. Before quarantine, this was done in person. Now it is done online, and entrepreneurs from different communities, small communities especially, they gladly participate in such programs. If in big cities this is common, people study in business schools, but in small cities, small towns, entrepreneurs, they do business intuitively. And they studied only in school or at university. And now, when they go to business trainings, then for them, it is really important. They learn fast and they bring their business to the new level. One more threat. People are afraid of being face-to-face with some problems. And the business deal with their problems, and the power tries to deal with their problems, and this is a problem in itself. We have a pilot in our organization and in the community. This is the function of business coordinator. Regular communication of a manager of the community with the entrepreneurs. This should be done systemically, and we believe that each time they should have a meeting with entrepreneur, at least once in half year, and there should be telephone conversations at least once a month, and they should be informed about the opportunities in business. They should speak about grants, loans, programs for SMEs. So business, they see that they are not alone. They may rely on some support, maybe not only financial, but on consulting, on some information from the bodies of power. Also, launch of new businesses. Markets change, and entrepreneurs may develop their business. Some entrepreneurs should change their business. So brainstorms here are important. Together with ULEAD, we help entering or franchising business to the regions. These are small restaurants, cafes, other businesses, because there is an established business models, and together with associations of franchising in Kiev, we select franchising that may be successful in small cities, and we provide this information to the administrations of the ATCs and to local businesses. And this is presented as an alternative where they can invest their money in. And this works really well. And also, if someone in the community, they have some ideas about business, but they do not have money, these ideas, they may be presented to investors, and then there may be some startups in the communities. One of the key important issues for business and communities, that this is legalization of business. From our experience, we may say that Benedict said it greatly about partnership. When you speak with business, you should motivate business to legalize, because you will be able to get loans, grants, participate in some programs, because if you are not legal, then you won't be able to participate. And in such a way, when business analyzes potential taxes and potential benefits, they are ready to legalize. And this increases the proceeds to the communities. And also, when business pays to the community, it becomes successful. This is long-term prospects. Before, people didn't pay taxes. This was like some sort of fashion to work and not to pay taxes. But now business understands that it is good for them to pay taxes. And also crisis of trust. We feel this in the community, in business, and between business and communities. Business does not know how to work with the community, how to work with power, how to cooperate, because there is lack of trust. And the issue of business trust in business and image, good image, it should be promoted. And also a good reputation is important. Subcontractors should have good reputation. If a responsible manager from the administration of the community, they may have the list of 10 or 20 subcontractors, that would be great. Also, there may be some new clusters created, new corporations and associations, not only within the community, but also between communities and different stakeholders in different regions. When we've started the implementation of the project with ULEAD, it happened so that when we analyzed the problems of business and communities, we contacted several organizations throughout Ukraine. And one of the intermediate results of the project is that 6 business associations, analytical centers got united and created a coalition to promote business in Ukraine. In different cities, Kharkiv, Kiev, Lviv, Vinnytsia, Sumy, Rivne, and they coordinated their cooperation for several years concerning resources and competences for the development of business within the communities in the territory of Ukraine, in order to cooperate more than to compete. And the organizers of the meeting have shown good results. USAID, ULEAD, the donors, and the European Union and the BRD, they are co-organizers of a platform. And we do not see it often, but it shows that stakeholders want to cooperate in order to get maximum result. This is great. That's why, as a conclusion, I would like to say that business association, business union, this is the instrument for the development of the communities. This is my impression from working with business and communities, and we hope for further cooperation. We hope for cooperation with us, with the coalition. Thank you, Mikola. And we go to Andris Lubinski. He is online now. The previous speaker, Mikola Savulak, he started his speech with the fact that not many people know about this program that is called 579, that not many people know about this program in the regions. We thank you. You attend our conference for the second time, and we thank you for joining us. After your first speech, we got a lot of questions about loans. So this is a very important question. Please tell us about the changes in the programs. Do you have some novelties, some additional mechanisms except this program 579? And what about the situation with this program now? Good afternoon once again. Sorry for delay. Yeah, there are changes, there are many changes, and the situation changed drastically compared with the first hour presentation of the program, when the office together with our stakeholders, when we came to 10 oblast centers, we were able to visit them. Now we have changes in our program, and I would like to tell you more about it. And drawback about lack of information, we should correct it. I prepared a small presentation, and I would like to share it with you. Do you see it? So what happens with the program 579? We started it now exit the quarantine, and this is about practical activity of the banks. A lot of offices of the banks, they entered quarantine, and now they exit this quarantine, and the loans were on hold, and the 579 program also was on hold. From the start, this program was modeled as an instrument of the support of investment projects. It should have been changed in order to support acute problems of business after this forced stop. And during the quarantine, we've introduced changes. It happened 2 times. We broadened overall parameters of the program, and we added target aspects. This is about refinancing and also the opportunity to get reimbursement concerning operating expenses. About the main parameters that didn't change. Broadened access to bank loans for SMEs. This doesn't change. This is the key element of this mechanism. And the new aim that should be implemented, this is provision additional liquidity to business because they face lack of liquidity. The main budget is 2 billion, but it will be increased to 4 billion. Also, 1.5 billion fund and 500 million for credit loan guarantees. But we should understand that there will be some changes, and I will tell you more about it. Also, those who didn't participate at previous conference, I would like to say that this is reimbursement of the interest and credit guarantees. What are the overall parameters? Who may participate? First, we introduced some changes. Now, business may apply. Those who have the income of 100 million hryvnias. Before it was 50 million and 50 workers. Separately, there is an financing with the 0 rate, and you may also get 10 million as a limit. The targets, these are not only investment, this is also operating expenses and refinancing reimbursement. About statistics, where we are and how we will exit quarantine. On the whole, in about 1 month of active work, without the use of loan guarantees, we provided to 554 loans and 348 million. And we have 5 banks who cooperate with us. They signed the agreement with the fund. And at the start of the program, only 4 state banks cooperated. Now the list of banks increases actively, and they may provide loans, and there will be some competition for the clients. And we expect this program will become more active. So we have the list of the banks, and you may find this information. And you may also find information how apply. This is on the official site of our program 579. It is not the only program. You may find it on our site. And one more important thing, that the key participant in the decision-making concerning loans, decisions are taken by the banks, those conditions on which it will be provided in the framework of the program.
For example, such parameters as a minimal amount of credit, the bank has discretion to set this minimal amount which could be given. Then some requirements as to the documentation related to your collateral or to your property that you would like to use as your collateral. This means actually that if you were rejected by one bank, you can apply to another, and this might be successful. If in the past there were only one parameter, now we have 6 parameters. The first parameter is about investment credits, where there was partial possibility to cover up to 25% of operational cost. Also, there is a possibility to finance franchising opportunities, and maximum amount of money that could be credited instead of 1.5 million. Now this is 3 million, and 25% of money to be paid as investment should be provided by the businessman. Also, the bank may offer delays for the payout of interest and body credit. If you, as a businessman, create additional jobs, you may decrease your interest rate by 0.5%. The component of investment credits, which intended to involve new businessmen and preparation of business plans. We found out that the new businesses and in business plans are rather weak, and those business plans which were prepared before quarantine, before lockdown, they perhaps now are not valid actually. And also, businessmen should clearly understand that when you start new business and you are a beginner as a businessman, the bank credit should not be an option for you. You should start your business to learn from your to learn lessons from your first mistakes. You should learn how to sell your products, and then understand whether you are able to develop your business. The next parameter of the program is a possibility to get credit for procurement of medicines and PPE. And PPE production is now also a priority. You can take up to 3 million for production of PPE, and the interest rate here is very attractive, up to 3% per annum. During all the quarantine period and during 90 days of after quarantine, you may apply for this credit. The third component of the credit is a possibility to cover your operational costs, but special costs like premises rent, like job wages, and some other operational costs. Andrei, I have to remind you about the time limits, and we have a question. Please keep this in mind. The fourth element of the program is refinancing of investment loans. The loans, this is for the loans which were taken earlier, where the main applicant satisfied all the conditions. Also, it is possible to decrease your interest rate due to this requirements up to 2%. That is, instead of 9, to have 5%. if you are a partner of this program already, you may request for the compensation of interest rate for 1 year, and also apply for postponement of your interest payments by the end of this year. The maximum level of compensation is limited to 100,000 euros. The next steps and novelties of this program, strengthening of credit guarantees and strengthening of the portfolio of credit guarantees, which now is issued by the Business Development Agency in Ukraine. According to new rules, you may become a part of that portfolio of loans in the bank which is covered by state guarantees. So that's it about this program. Please follow us on our website and ask your questions. Thank you, Andrei. We have heard about novelties about state portfolio guarantees. We will look more carefully and try to understand in more detail. Now I have Mr. Logvinenko from Sokmedok Cooperative who has a question to Mr. Logvinenko. Mr. Logvinenko, can you hear us here? We have businesses in Pokrovska community in Dnipropetrovsk region. Before the quarantine, our entrepreneurs applied for 5.79% quarantine, and I also applied to the state bank for this loan, and I've been dealing with businesses for 5 years. I have 1,200,000 income per year, and I also applied for such a loan, but I was told in the bank that my collaterals, my collateral property, a car, a truck, and a house should be rather new, not more than 5 years old. I have all that collaterals, a truck, a car, a house, but they are older than 5 years. For example, I have a house. I have a big house, but there are children, minors, who are registered in that house. So I suggested to the bank, I may re-register my children with my parents so they won't be registered in a house, and offer my house as a pledge, as a collateral for the bank loan. And nevertheless, I was rejected once again because the credits are allowed only for equipment. The next problem, we want to build up a production for processing of honey, and all the companies, construction companies suggested to do this for 4 million hryvnia. While our partners like beekeepers, like our production can build up such a processing plant independently only for 1.5 million hryvnia. But for doing this, we can take, we need operational costs. But the loans for operational costs are not provided. Well, you asked actually many questions. When did you apply for the credits? This was before the quarantine. Now you may try to do this once again because much was changed in course of quarantine. Up to 25% of operational costs now will be covered. So I suggest you to prepare all the package of documents now. Moreover, the package, the list of the banks who participate in the program now is much broader. Also, at the end of April, we found out that some barriers in legislation were removed, and now a bank may offer you a credit guarantee from the foundation of state entrepreneurs. In general, many new mechanisms now are available and are now offered by the banks. This is about lack of collateral. Well, I understood that we have to reapply for the credits. Dear colleagues, thank you so much. And we have one more question to you. Also, we have Mr. Vasil Telep from Baikavetska Amalgamated Community in Ternopil region. I represent a consultancy point for the this program, Accessible Credits, 579%. Can you hear me? I'm Vasil Telep. I'm a consultant from the Baikavetska Amalgamated Community. This consultancy point deals with this available credit 579%. In our community, we provide consultations to our local businesses as to available credits. Unfortunately, we do not have many people who address to us and come to us with requests for consultation. Andriy mentioned that this program is going to change. Whether this will be parallel program or this will be new program, or whether this will be new program for guaranteeing credits, and whether this will simplify possibilities for businesses to get money from banks. as Roman mentioned before me, getting credit from the bank is extremely cumbersome procedure. I will start from the very end of your question. This is a bank loan which is given by banks from their money. It's not a grant, it's not a subsidy. That's why you should take it seriously, just like bank loan, and you have to comply with the crediting policy of the bank. Then about the new program. It is about extension of the bank guarantees, bank guarantee tools, and strengthening of governmental guarantees, which will be provided by the government. This will allow to extend the circle of those, the number of those entrepreneurs who are able to apply for these credits. Not all the businesses are ready to put their houses or cars as a bank collateral for the loan that they take. And we strongly believe that this program will get many supporters. Thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you, Andrew, for your answers. We continue our discussion, and the next speaker is Ms. Ludmila Voynilovich, coordinator of the projects about financing and development of SMEs from EBRD. Ms. Voynilovich, keeping in mind the previous presentations and questions, how we can cut the distance between a bank and entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear? I'm coordinator of the projects with local consultants. As all the previous speakers mentioned, we have many support programs for SMEs, and for SMEs, it is a big homework that should be done. You should read carefully all the conditions, all the opportunities. Quite often people come and ask questions about things which are obvious. They simply do not read the conditions carefully. You should carefully read the criteria. And the question about legalization, when those trademarks, brands, which we see on the supermarket shelves, quite often when they come to us legally, they do not almost exist. That's why that program as to SMEs is not only about big infrastructural projects, but also about SMEs, and it is existent since 2010. Today, I will describe several key words which might be used by you for more detailed information. We offer grants for involvement of external consultants, which might be either local or foreign experts, and when When bank wishes to involve such a consultant, we may finance up to 50% of this cost. This could be consultancy about automation, about marketing of products, about management of your business, etc. Quite often businesses ask us where to find a good consultant. And of course, a good consultant depends on your own criteria as a businessman. But nevertheless, now we have a platform where all our consultants are registered, and those businesses who are looking for a consultant may go to this platform and have a look at the list of consultants. Yes, we can see this. Look at the Maraja.com.ua. You may search in different areas, and in each area the platform may offer several experts. You may apply for the work of the consultants for any event with participation of a consultant. In the situation of lockdown, our bank also had rescheduled its work via online consultations, and we managed to do this as to the consultants. We organized several 3-day events where consultants freely shared their experience and provided free recommendations. As for the access to knowledge, quite often this is the main request from companies. Not always they request for money. More often they request for knowledge and access to knowledge. Not everybody is able to find a proper consultant to get business knowledge. That's why we had established in 15 regions of Ukraine these centers for business consultancy, where entrepreneurs may find necessary support and request for trainings and education. And in lockdown, many such centers had become online centers. They deliver trainings via online and free of charge. Quite often, you should start from the very basic skills. Some trainings are of upper level for those who already have good knowledge. As for micro businesses, in course of counteraction to COVID-19, we have established Know-how Academy, where we offer a number of online models where micro businessmen may get very focused, very compressed trainings. Besides access to knowledge, we offer several sectoral initiatives, like in the furniture sector. Next month, we are planning Ukrainian National Furniture Summit, where we will offer a series of master class master classes online, free of charge, and where we will explain how to look for buyers from other countries online. Quite often these trainings might be interesting not only for businessmen in the area of furniture, but also other types of businessmen, because the business mechanisms are rather universal. Equally, we are supporting tourism now because closure of the borders resulted in huge troubles for this industry, and also we plan a conference of international experts about development of local tourism and how to rethink this area in the period of down. Tourism covers not only trips and voyages, but also hotels and restaurants. Also, we have a platform for textile industry. You may register on this platform and meet some international buyers. We also plan a series of events to teach how to use this platform. In order to rethink the situation with businesses, we even before quarantine we launched our rethinking project. This is about designers thinking how to create your own product and how to become more successful. You may find more about our Facebook web page. Also, we support expert. Now we are preparing trade missions for chemical sector to Turkey. Also training Go expert, and companies may register even now. Also, we offer access to the e-expert in China. If you are interested in expert, you may try this. Expert to China. After big presentation, you would not remember everything, so I suggest you to write down this website, mreža.com.ua, and where you may find links to all the initiatives which we make available for all the participants. I suggest you to follow up this website. If you are a consultant, if you deal with different businesses, you may find this page very useful. And one more website. I would like to remind you about time frames. SME map. These are another programs which act on the framework EU for Business, where you can find some useful knowledge. it's very useful to cooperate with many donor organizations, with the government authorities, and I'm happy that now we are witnessing appearance of the program which will be useful for businesses. So I would encourage the businesses to serve these resources and find something useful for them. Thank you, Ludmila. Now about additional resources from USAID to support female businesses. We have Ms. Olesa Zaluska, Deputy Head of the program Competitive Economy in Ukraine.
Topic support of women's business. This is important because according to statistics, more than 60% of our audience are women. So now we are working with your target audience. Do you see the slides? Okay. We start with the topic. This topic is narrowed to women and e-commerce, but our program is broader actually. Look at this picture. This is a real case of the grant that was provided to Ukrainian women's company from Ivano-Frankivsk. They open their own production and also they produce clothes. They employed more than 20 people and they export to 3 markets: German market, US market and Great Britain market. We will go back to women's business, but first I would like to speak about our program. We have a big component of business climate where we work with organizations that help entrepreneurs. We thank a lot to Mikola because he mentioned the importance of such organizations, and I believe that there is additional value for business to participate in those organizations and clubs is very important for them. This may help them to find information quickly and to focus on some priority topics, because in the situation of pandemic, we see that there is a lot of information and there are now a lot of opportunities, but businessmen should find their priorities. This is the key. That's why I believe that business support organizations, they are really important. Our core component is the development of opportunities for business. These are grants, support of sectors, also development of expert opportunities, instruments of international trade, and as part of USAID program, we pay a lot of attention to governmental initiatives. I won't go into detail. You may go to our Facebook page to find this information there. We have a 5-year grant program. In the framework of our program, we have it. And we have grant support for women's businesses. This year, we started this program and we held 3 rounds what this round means. This is the window, the period of time during which you may apply. Why we did this? We did it in order that those people who are not ready for one window, they may apply in another window. I won't go into detail about quality of applications. Speakers mentioned this. This is a huge problem. This is objective program because for many years, business, they didn't count on loans and additional financing. Ukrainian business, it was always survivors. They just asked not to interfere. Now we have program 579. There are many grants opportunities in the market. And we have more and more of such support, but the quality of preparation of applications is really low. I believe that support organizations, associations, clubs, cooperatives, any unions and alliances are important. They may help entrepreneurs to prepare projects, applications for grants or loans, because the main is to form the project, to have clear plan how you are going to implement this project, and to prove that you will efficiently use these funds. For women, it is important not to stop. If you are rejected once, it doesn't mean that your project is bad or your business idea does not fly. You should try again. Get advice from consultants. Rewrite your application. Never stop after first rejection. And we worked with women businesses, and we see the difference. Often women have emotions. They have first response. They think that their project is not great, but you should sit and think it through and apply once again. I will repeat. This is really important. Pay a lot of attention to criteria. Whether it is for loan or grant, everyone has its criteria for application. And if you do not correspond, do not spend time of your time and the time of those people. On our site, there are all links to find more information. We will share some slides. Let's go back to other opportunities. We have in our program a lot of training projects for startups. We work a lot with IT ecosystem and the startup ecosystem. Till 8th of June, you may apply to business incubators. This is also for women. We do not divide. And until tomorrow, also you may apply to one business camp. We started this initiative last summer, and practically during this year, about 150 participants were trained. We had camps in Kiev, one in Mykolaiv. We tested the opportunities in the region, and it is more difficult to do it in Kiev, but we should do it. And we had 2 camps, last camps online because of pandemic, and this is another level when everyone is in one virtual poster. You may be more focused, and one camp we had in Zoom format, and here it is important that this was a pivot change from offline to go online to check everything. We made a lot of conclusions about what was good, what was not good, and this is one more understanding that when you go in online, you should test everything. I thank Benedict for remembering that there are no experts on how to exit quarantine and what steps should be made. And I support this opinion. Everything should be tested. And we are not good in online work. This is not a new format, but we should learn how to do it efficiently. We should be honest. This is much more difficult than do it offline because you cannot feel your audience. There is no proper feedback, immediate feedback. That's why we should learn. And I believe that in connection with pandemic, we have this accelerated effect of learning how to work online. About tomorrow, you may apply for business camp that will start on the 11th of June. About e-commerce. E-commerce didn't appear yesterday. It existed before pandemic, but we understood during this pandemic that we need to have diversified portfolio, not only about goods and services. This is also about the way how to deliver these goods and services. Together without expert promotion service and Ukrposhta, we've developed a guide to provide advice on e-commerce. You may get this guide on the pages of our partners and on our Facebook page about e-commerce. For women, we've developed this worksheet. There are practical advice how to organize sales on the existing platforms, on Instagram or in ads. And in the nearest future, we plan to launch more initiatives in this direction. You may find stories of success on e-commerce due to our links we provide, and we have resources and contacts, and you may find more information there. I would like also to say that we support cooperation between donor projects, any type of cooperation, horizontal, with the organizations for support of business, with associations and clubs. We have a lot of programs with them. And I hope that in the next year we are going to support more women's entrepreneurship, and we will provide more information. Everyone understand that during, I do not remember the source, but in the last 10 years, e-commerce, it didn't get the part of offline commerce. It created a new sector. And we understand that after 2020, the sector will develop even faster. Thank you for your attention. Please share your contacts with us. My contacts are now on the slide. Dear colleagues, the contacts, the resources, everything will be published in our final materials. Also, you will be able to see this press conference online. And we have a question to you. So here on the screen we have Ivana. Please, your question. Ivana Weidel. And we produce snails. We provide our products for export. And maybe our products will remain in Ukraine. We try to get prepared to Ukrainian market. We attended some national, international fairs, and Chernobyl and Sumsky administrations provided some support to us. Please ask a question. I have two questions. One to Olesya. We try to find a new strategy for our products. For example, green tourism. But we have small chances. We do not have roads. We want to work online. This is the only option for us. But the problem is that farmers are in the villages. There is lack of connection, lack of internet, problems with delivery. Nova Pošta, they are in the main cities. They are not in our region. And Ukrposhta is not efficient. So what can be done to get prepared for this online regime of work? And also, can a community or local government help to introduce changes to legislation concerning creation of the new area of partnership in order that farmers had some reimbursement for the materials? First question to Olesya, second question to Association of Amalgamated Communities, those who lobby in the parliament. Look, about infrastructure, lack of communication and internet. Neither our program nor other associations, we won't be able to change it quickly. That's why you should address those who may solve these problems. We have serious people who deal with these infrastructure issues. About support with shift to online business. Contact through the links we advised, and we will be able to share with you, and we will try to find, we will help you to find the format, how to change these networks of supply for you, and we will try to find opportunities in other USAID programs that develop agrarian sector. About Ukrposhta. Do you have experience, or is this just your overall impression? I know a lot of good ideas about Ukrposhta, especially in the recent years. You should study what services they provide, because it's like program 579. Everything changes gradually. Maybe Ukrposhta will get more trust with you. We have good stories with them. They cooperated greatly with the entrepreneurs. We thank Olesya and Ivana. We've heard about international support, technical support for SMEs. Now about support of local governance. Zoya Chugay Head of Sector of Economic Development and Investment, Lubinski, Amalgamated Community, Chernigivska Oblast.
Good afternoon, dear participants of the conference. I've been listening to all those important issues which you've been discussing today, and I would like to encourage you to look more closely on Chernihiv Oblast, where Lubetska amalgamated community. We have a big cultural potential. We are in the north of Ukraine. We are from Lubitsch. You may continue. We can see your presentation. Lubitsch amalgamated community is like a pearl in the history of Ukraine. We are not far from Kyiv. We occupy 337 square kilometers. We have 28 different settlements and 4,000 residents. We are very close to the Belarus border, but we do not have direct transport connection with Belarus, and this limits our trans-border cooperation. But we have a memorandum on cooperation with neighboring regions of Belarus. Tourism is very important for our community. We are one of the centers of the ancient Rus state. We are on the main highway from the regions to the Greeks. The year 882 is the first entry about Lubitsch in ancient Rus chronicles, and we had put this to the as a foundation of our strategic development plan, and it was ULEAD project who provided assistance to our community when we were developing the plan. And the focus of my today's presentation is how local authority tries to help to local businesses. We understand that we have to push our SMEs forward. We have to provide the initial support to them, and having analyzed the economic strength and opportunities, having carried out SWOT analysis, we came to several conclusions. Please describe your initiatives, how you support small businesses. We have developed a comprehensive program for development of SMEs in our community. It comprises two components. One is the contest of mini grants. The grants call to find the most promising ideas and support them and stimulate successful businesses which exist now but require support from the authorities. We want to promote development of local jobs. Of course, we want to improve the infrastructure, but that is not enough. It took us some time to produce the program. We approached the consultants of the DOBRE program and provided legal consultancy to us. We also cooperated with the Slavutich community. And now we are collecting applications for the project call from local businesses. Our local self-government provides information about available grants, about available state support. You can find all this information on our official website. By the way, our community is the only community that had established its asset management information platform. That is, potential businessmen may check what land plots are available for businesses, what requirements are to what is the infrastructure around the land plot. This shows how we see our role as business facilitators in the local community. Zoya, thank you. We have a question to you. My colleagues tell me that we now have a link to Merefyanska local community. I'm Katerina Kobuts. From Merefyansk Amalgamated Community. My question to you, since 2016, our community is participant of the DOBRE program and we deal with local economic development. A year ago, we have opened the business support center in our local community, and now our local municipality wants to develop local business support program. And we want to establish grant program for startups. So my question to you, as a community which already has such a business support program, how did you involve businesses at the stage of such program development? Whether you requested any feedback from the businesses, etc. Thank you. Thank you, Katerina. Thank you for your interesting question. We incorporated representatives of SMEs at the moment when we established a special commission on the economic program drafting, and we have been cooperating with local businesses for a long period of time and rather closely. We enroll businesses to many of our programs. We have even established a regular evening tea, afternoon tea with between businesses and local self-government representatives. That is, we travel around to our surrounding settlements and have tea parties with the local businesses. You may now communicate directly with each other. Thank you, dear colleagues. We have heard how to rescue SMEs, but the next speakers will discuss how not to make any harm to public health at this stage of COVID-19. So we have Mr. Gavriluk. What are recommendations of the Ministry of Health? This is Mr. Alexander Matskov. So some releases of the lockdown and quarantine from tomorrow means that we try to launch gradually the most required business process in society. And what is even more important, all those processes should be relaunched with strengthened requirements, safety requirements. Our objective is to prevent the growing of cases. Every day, Ministry of Health publishes information and the main objective is to control peak load on the healthcare system. This was the main motivation to impose a quarantine at the very beginning, and that allows us to respond adequately and mobilize all the resources and prevent massive epidemic. As for the releases, they are regulated by the Cabinet of Ministers resolution, and number 392 from May 30, 2020. And yesterday some amendments were made to that resolution. For example, from June 5th, the restaurants and catering facilities could be opened but for access, but with the necessary sanitary restrictions. Also, we had produced temporary recommendations as to the epidemic restrictions, which could be found on the Ministry of Health website. For example, resolution number 7017 about number 17 number 18 about markets, number 19 about restaurants, 28 fitness centers, number 31 railroad transportation. I mentioned all those resolutions of the sanitary epidemic services for those entrepreneurs who want to be familiar with the documents, to be able to find them on the Ministry of Health website. You can find all of them on the Ministry of Health website and stack with the requirements. This is very important because coronavirus could be transferred via air or water drops and contact, physical contact. That is, we have to prevent physical contacts between people. That's why you have to stack with some basic requirements to prevent the spread of COVID-19. That is hands etiquette, coughing and sneezing etiquette, etc. Our data, which were collected in course of pandemic, suggest that up to 85% of people of COVID-19 patients, they suffer from very light form of it, and that is transfer it to other people. And when we release business conditions, this may bring together big numbers of people in closed premises, and this requires more strengthened anti-epidemic measures. Also, the government had approved the government having approved the procedure for easing of quarantine. It does not introduce it simultaneously for all the regions. In order to shift to the to more released stage of quarantine, you have to satisfy some conditions which are also determined and published on the Ministry of Health website. And only having satisfied the requirements, you can shift to the easier stage of lockdown. And decision about the release could be made within with the periodicity of 7 days, while the decisions on tightening of quarantine may be made each 3 days. And to finish, businesses have to be responsible. We understand that a long-term quarantine had very harmful social and economic impact on businesses, but we request that in course of reopening, the businesses should pay more attention on sanitary conditions, on safe conditions for the clients, and on additional informing of maximally possible space available for businesses and encourage people to stick with the necessary quarantine requirements. All those conditions and restrictions will allow us to make this gradual revival of activities more safe for people. Alexander, thank you. Before yesterday's decision of the government, we had a lot of questions from businesses, but we understand that many of them were removed by yesterday's decision. So let's stay in contact, and we will invite you for further press conferences. Dear colleagues, we continue our communication with Anatoly Havreluk, who is founder of the startup Eat Fresh. You are a startupper. Describe your life on quarantine and how you now revive from suspension of your work. Thank you so much. As to your question, our startup appeared in the period of quarantine when all the markets were closed and the long lines, long queues to the food stores started to queue. So that's why we went online. We created a website, created so we tried to organize deliveries directly from agricultural producers who had big problems with closed markets. So we organized direct deliveries from farmers to households. And we found out that there are many people who are not indifferent to the problems of farmer producers and who are ready to support small farmers and who were ready to support and we found out that there was a big demand on our products. Now the situation has changed. The markets are opened and farmers can use traditional supply channels, but for the smallest producers, for rural households who produce in micro amounts, who produce farmer products, which is actually organic products produced at home. This is top quality products which are highly demanded by local residents in the cities. That's why we continue our online startup. If you allow me, I will describe in more detail. we try to extend the assortment of offered goods. Besides fruits and vegetables, we have added poultry and meat. And now we have to think about so-called cool chilling logistics. Now we are thinking about thermal boxes. And then we have to discard that thermal boxes, which may be an additional burden for the environment. Another side of the problem is to cut down time for supplies from farmers to consumers. The biggest number of our consumers are in Kyiv, while producers are in Kherson. So we have to organize supplies, with thermal logistics from Kherson to Kyiv. Another good idea, which I will try to develop and support, we may create a pilot project in Kherson. To create a center where a small producer may come and offer the products for realization. This center may become an intermediary in for buyers, for supermarkets, etc. This could create a platform for realization of the environmentally safe products. We are ready to invest resources into creation of such a center, where ecological food producers may find opportunities for their further development. This will stimulate self-employment of population and simplify and release dependence from big businesses. Actually, the government had put the food safety responsibility purely on businesses. I don't think this is this is very responsible. Supply of wood stuff to the most vulnerable groups should not be put on businesses, and authorities should take into consideration some risks, for example, which we witnessed quite recently, like quarantine, lockdown, and limited access to supermarkets. These farmers centers, which I described, they might organize food banks, which might accumulate the food stuff, which is not that fancy or at the latest stage of shelf line, and offer these products from food banks to the most vulnerable groups. This might resolve the problems of many people. We might supply foodstuffs to pensioners who had very limited access to supermarkets. They remained in a very strict lockdown. Anatoly, thank you so much. Due to time frames, we will move more quickly, and if in case of any questions, we will ask them to you. And now we have Viktor Sikalenko from Halitsinevska community in Mykolaiv region. Victor, may you refer to Mr. Gavriluk's statement that the government had put its responsibility on food supplies on businesses. What about your community? How did your community act in the lockdown conditions? Because your topics is as follows: how local authority may support businesses and promote entrepreneurship.
Our initiative is to create business and to create a business incubator. This idea appeared in 2018. We came to this idea step by step. Now I'm going to show my presentation. As you may see, services of business incubator, it started in 2018. We started with the sociological survey. What educational support is needed to help create business? And proposals were submitted about technical support, for example, to learn how to sew, how to make pots, some decorative arts, to do business, how to create physical person entrepreneur, how to pay taxes, how to establish position in the market. We submitted a project. The implementation started. We've created an incubator. It provides educational services for entrepreneurs, for those who sew, those who do gardening and other things. And also we provide equipment, sewing machines, some overlocks, some equipment for pottery. We have notebooks, we have internet connection, and you may get the services from us. We cooperated with USAID DOBRE program. Due to USAID, we've created technical means. Due to the international, we've We provide educational services. They provide salaries, and also our village council provided repair works in our premises and helped us buy some equipment, air conditioners, lighting equipment. Last year we started the project. We had good results. Before quarantine, we launched educational programs for people who wanted to sell their produce. Galitsynevska ATC is near Mykolaiv city, and there is demand for their products, and also for the territory of Galitsynska ATC. Also, we provided foreign language lessons, English language lessons, first offline, then we provided lessons online. Amigurumi, this is Japanese style toys. Our girls sell them domestically and abroad. They are real masters. They provide quality products. People were surprised that this was created here. And also, our masters are invited to TV and radio shows, and they share their experience there. They sell their products, and people call them, they ask to train them, or they want to buy their products. Quarantine was a challenge. We had some equipment from USAID DOBRE program. So we had these machines. We've started to produce face masks. It was really important. This was an initiative of our workers, our girls. They said, let's do this. First, we decided to buy some tissue and to sew these masks. We got the materials for free. We understood that 3 girls are not enough to produce these masks, and additional training was provided to 5 more people. They learned how to use equipment to sew masks, and in 3 weeks they produced 4,500 masks that were distributed for socially vulnerable people and to residents who need those masks. The main initiator Olga Serdyuk, during quarantine, she became a physical person entrepreneur. She started her sewing business and started to create her own brand. And she created a Facebook page where she shows her products, and she is a trainer, and she is master of this art, and she has experience not only in sewing clothes but also textile work and different other types of work with tissue. And the business incubator and the equipment we have, it is modern, it is easy to use, and Olga is our first businesswoman. We provide this equipment for free to her, and then we hope that in a year, when her business will be strong, and there will be more money. She will be able to pay some symbolic fee for modernization of equipment and premises. This is our first project, and we hope that after the quarantine, we plan to have several other educational programs, and on the 2nd of June, we are going to start to create some toys. We have programs from 42 to 80 hours to create children's clothes, and we plan to train people in our premises and in other village. This is doing textile, these and this produce may be ordered by schools, by kindergartens, if they need it. We have a dialogue with the Department of Education, and if they have all the textile products, we will order from Olga in accordance with the acts on procurement. Also, we have pottery courses. We train several people, and they will be able to train other people in different villages. We have 6 settlements, and we want to have we would like to create some pottery facilities in different villages, and also we'd like to do to help other businesses to pay more taxes, to have sustainable profit, and to reduce poverty in the territory of the community, because business incubators they help to create more business in community and reduce poverty. So we are presented on social media, and you may go online and to find more information about what we do. All the resources mentioned by our speakers, you may find information about them in our materials. Unfortunately, we do not have time for final remarks. We thank all our speakers and our viewers, those who were active today. We thank organizers, DOBRE and ULEAD. Our conference was under the slogan of partnership. That's why we hope that in this period of crisis, we will have this partnership, this efforts, joint efforts, and those issues that were not voiced today, that were not talked through, we will be able to discuss during our next discussion. Thank you.